So, therefore, after welcoming you all, and hopefully in the meantime you have taken pen and paper, I just want to say that the first thing I'd like you to do by the end of the session is to write down what kindness means to you. Okay, just quickly write down during the session, whenever you think is convenient for you. I'm admitting S as well. So just to think of kindness, which is the main theme of Mental Health Awareness Week, and what kindness actually means to you. So when we talk about brain power, I just want to give you the good news right now. We can all improve our brain power. We can all keep in good shape with our brain at any age. Yes, so whatever your age, just welcome. You'll be able to follow some tips which actually increase your brain power. Some people tell me, well, you know, I'm of a certain age and I don't know, my brain is not working very well anymore. Well, think again. Okay, so the first thing that I would like to say is that the brain has a great power of reshaping, has a great power of developing and adapting to new situations. But in order to do that, we need to stimulate it. And the best way of stimulating the brain, or one of the ways, is actually to learn something new. So what the brain doesn't really like much is monotony. So obviously over the years, as we grow up, the brain develops and we start learning things that we do automatically. You know, we know how to dress up, we know how to talk, but the point is that if we basically stick to the same routine, we are not really stimulating the brain. So our mental capacity stays the same, doesn't really grow. So the brain in time will not work as well. So learning something is very important, but not anything. It needs to be something that is challenging, something that really has to, you know, put your gray cells into work. And at the same time, it needs to be something that you enjoy doing. The reason is very simple. If you do something that is challenging, but at the same time you enjoy, there's two things that happen. One, you're more likely to carry on. Two, when we really have a sense of achievement, there's a flash of dopamine that actually comes into the body. And the dopamine really is like opium. It gives you a sense of pleasure. Yeah. So the first thing I'd like us to do, which stimulates the brain, is actually how to be creative. Now I'm going to share a screen with you, and we go for the first activity. Now, can you all see this slide? Can you all see the slide?
Yep.
Okay, now let's see. On this slide, we should have two pictures, if we can see it. Okay, the one at the top is a landscape, and the title goes like this: I went walking and something strange happened. Okay, now if I were able to slide the page down, which I'm doing now, you can see a second picture of dogs, and it goes like this: yesterday these dogs came to my door. And so what I'd like you to do is choose one of these pictures and start writing a story. Okay, so you make it up. Either I went walking and something strange happened, and you carry on from there. Or the second, as an alternative, is yesterday these dogs came to my door.
Yeah.
Okay, So I will give you 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, in which you can actually use your creativity to stimulate your brain. Now, I'm not saying you have to complete the story, just to start writing something, get inspiration from these 2 pictures. So let's start now. So I'll give you 5 minutes and let's see how far we go. Now, one of the very important things about the brain, as I was saying before, is that the brain doesn't really like routine. So what we are doing right now is that we are digging into our brain cells to stimulate the brain and come up with something that is new, that is different. And hopefully at the end of this little exercise, you will be encouraged to carry on with the story in your own time. When I run this session, I mean, all sorts of stories come up, and you know, some of them are great fun, and some of them really shows how creative we can be. So just make the most of this opportunity, and let's see what we can come up with. So I'm stop sharing the screen. I can see you're all sort of focused on writing something. Whatever really crosses your mind, whatever you're doing now is creative. Yeah, so you're stimulating your brain cells. So maybe we can take just 1 more minute. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just see where your imagination takes you. Just see where your brain takes you. Okay, so it's a shame we don't have much time, but now if you would like to unmute, yeah, unmute all, would anyone like to share the beginning of their story? So tell us which picture you chose, if it's the one with the dogs or the one with the beautiful landscape, and just tell us what you've written. Who wants to start?
I chose the walk. Can you hear me?
Okay,
yeah,
so this is
yeah.
Oh, Elsie.
Tell us.
Did you know it's me?
Elsie.
Hey.
Okay, so Elsie, what did you write?
Well, it was an example yesterday, a little story. You know, the government said about the lockdown, and you have your own spaces. And I was walking just the top of my road, and it had 4 people on the other side. And I had my mask on. They never had any mask on, but they came over the same time and crowded me. And I think to myself, what is this going on here? You understand? So that was my story for yesterday. They invade my space.
That's fine. That's okay. So obviously Elsie didn't choose the beautiful landscape. She chose, you know, some place very near her, you know, because we're all affected by the lockdown, yeah, aren't we? Thank you. Who else wants to share a beautiful story or less beautiful? It doesn't matter. Who else?
I've got one.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, who is that? Raise your hand.
It's,
because
it's Angelique.
Angelique, hello. Yes.
Hi, my lovely.
Tell us, what's your story?
Is it my turn?
Yes, that's right, Angelique.
Okay. So I chose the ones for the dogs, and I said, when I saw these dogs at my door, I was totally amazed as to how they were sitting, looking, almost like they were there to protect me as opposed to attack me. As when growing up, I was petrified of dogs. What a humbling experience to actually not feel that way anymore. I think it's evident that I've overcome my fears.
Oh, wonderful.
That's
Well
lovely.
done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's very moving, actually. Very personal story. Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Angelique.
thank you.
So let's have a couple more. Puna?
Yes. I was walking by the sea. I went up the top of the rock, and I was so high up, I was trying to come down, but I was coming down so slowly so I wouldn't fall down. Try to save myself. That's it.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you can carry on with this story. That's just the beginning.
Yeah.
One more. Who wants to share with us?
I've got one.
Hello, Sharon. Hi. Yes,
Hi.
go on.
I didn't do much, but I said I was walking and something strange happened. It was a hot summer's day, and I was walking up up a hill. And after a few minutes, I became really thirsty. I continued walking up the hill and started to really get hot and sweaty. And then I saw a water fountain. And I thought, oh, let me stop there and have a drink. And when I started to drink from the water fountain, the water was so cool and refreshing. So I drank loads of it. So because I felt quite full, I decided to sit down for a bit. And then before I knew it, I fell asleep. And then when I woke up on this hill, I saw the sun was going down. And it was really, really a nice scene. And then it got dark. And then something strange happened because I just saw all these shooting stars in the sky. And it was so beautiful, and that's where I've stopped. I haven't gone.
Oh, but you know, I think we should really give ourselves a good clap, yeah, for everyone, all of you. So,
Anna, sorry, how come so many people are here and I only can see a few?
Because in some cases people prefer just to use the audio.
All right, okay, that's fine, that's fine.
As well.
No, that's fine, thanks.
So it's really people's choice. It really is people's choice. As long as you can all hear me and see me, that is absolutely fine. Yes?
No, I didn't understand what it happened.
So really, thank you all. I would really like, I'm going to mute you all for a moment. What I would really like to say is this.
I'm not sure.
Yes. What I'd like to say is this. Using your creativity has a great effect on the brain. The brain is stimulated because, as I was saying at the beginning, it has the great ability of developing, and it only develops when we put something new, something that is challenging, something that he enjoys, and something that actually gives us a little bit of reward at the end. So my suggestion for you would be carry on with your story, see where your imagination takes you, yeah, and practice. This is just not a one-off, you know, you can start story anytime. It's actually also very relaxing, yeah? If you engage in something that really takes your mind away from everything, that has a beneficial effect on your brain. So the first tip is stimulate your brain with something creative, something that you enjoy. Now the next tip is to do with stress. Okay, Sharon has mentioned that. And in order to keep your brain in good shape, we need to control our stress. Now, some people are familiar with the emotional side of stress, how we feel, you know, agitated or, you know, feeling down and falling into depression. Some people are more familiar with how we behave when we are stressed out or anxious or depressed. But not all the time do we put the emphasis on what actually happens on the brain. So what happens on the brain is that if you are experiencing a temporary bout of stress, yeah, that is not likely to affect your health. But the moment we start experiencing stress for a long time, more than 2 or 3 weeks, the stress itself has an effect on the brain. Studies on both animals and people have demonstrated that the hippocampus, the part of the brain that actually deals with memory stimulation, shrinks. This is why when we experience long-term stress, we may become forgetful. Some people think panic immediately, they think it's dementia. In fact, it's the effect of stress. So, tips to manage stress. And if you have any comments, please use the chat at the bottom. Personally, what I would say is that we need to change our attitude towards the stress. Okay? A life without stress, I don't know, is that possible? I've never met anyone who can say it's completely free of stress. So what is really important is not to strive for a life without stress, which could be totally realistic. What we need to do is trying to find ways of managing it. Yeah, that's more realistic. So a few tips on how to manage. One of the things that we need to remember is to have a good night's sleep. So this is what Sharon was saying earlier on. Sleep and stress are like a vicious circle. If we are stressed, we may not be able to sleep. If we can't sleep, we may increase the level of stress. So, sleeping well has an effect of actually flushing the brain of toxins. And that's, again, this has been proved. Not sleeping well, sleep deprivation has an effect on memory. Okay, so memory is reduced, the level of concentration is reduced, your level of creativity is reduced. So all the activities that enable the brain to function well during the day, yeah, are diminished. So manage stress with a good night's sleep, and we can discuss some tips if you want later on how to achieve that. The next thing, very important, is to keep control of the things that we can be in control. So where, for example, we're all in lockdown, or most of us are, yeah, this induces a good level of stress in so many people. The lockdown is here to stay. The question is, how can we manage that? What can we do to reduce the level of stress that results from the lockdown? Yeah, so this is very personal. This is something that you need to start thinking. Getting organized, it's essential in terms of managing stress. And that's because sometimes when we lead a hectic life, yeah, there's so many things that come into our day, relationships, work, perhaps bereavement, yeah. What needs to be happening is that in order to reduce the level of stress for the brain, yeah, we need to have some order. And a good way of having some order is to produce lists. So, for example, if you have an iPad, and this is how we also connect with sleep, maybe before going to bed, you can get your iPad out and make a list of all the things that you need to do tomorrow. So you don't wake up in the middle of the night thinking, oh my God, I need to do this or that. Or, for example, sometimes people have a heavy workload. By making a list, we prioritize. What is also important for the brain in terms of reducing stress is to take breaks. Now, this is where I'm going to talk about the physical activity, which is the next step. But taking breaks means, you know, just getting up, go shoulder rolls to reduce tension around your neck, or just go for a little walk if you can, or just go from your kitchen back to the room where you work if you're in lockdown, to stretch your legs and distract the mind from what you're doing. That also helps the brain relax, which in itself reduces the level of stress. Okay, so far we've discussed the importance of creativity, the importance of reducing stress with all different things. And before I move on, I would like to know if you have any comments or questions so far.
No, I find that really, really helpful, Anna.
Okay.
Really, really.
Shall I carry on and then we discuss at the end?
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Very helpful. Thanks,
Okay.
Anna.
Yeah.
So I'm going to mute you all as well. Again. Okay. So we always hear about the importance of physical activity. I think when we talk about the brain, yeah, what I'm going to say is just incredibly relevant. What is good for your heart is good for the brain, in the sense that physical activity not only enhances your cardiovascular performance, you know, it strengthens your heart, but also is good for the brain, because when we exercise, in particular when we do aerobic exercise, which gets your heart pumping, when we do aerobic exercise, what happens is that the brain gets more oxygen and more blood. Two elements essential to make your brain work for a long time. So the physical effect of the physical activity, and aerobics exercise in particular, has a great relevance for the brain for that particular reason. Even better, if you do a kind of aerobic exercise that involves your hands, your arms, and your legs at the same time. And that's because you need to think of coordinating the two. So again, what happens? The brain gets stimulated, because you need to, if you do a Zumba class or if you do a dance class, usually both upper limbs and lower limbs, your arms and your legs, are involved in coordination. Coordination stimulates the brain. The brain is stimulated, so it keeps a good shape for a long time. Let alone the other benefits that, you know, we are always talking about, you know, weight management or relaxation in general, enjoyment, because again, you know, both dopamine and endorphins are released in the body, the feel-good factors, hormones. So as you can see, all these things are all connected. Physical activities is essential to reduce your stress level. Reduce your stress level, your brain stays in good shape for a long time. It helps you sleep, which in turns, obviously relaxes the mind, and so the brain functions are more enabled and more facilitated. It's easier, you know, to get on with life. Are we all okay so far? You say yes? Now, one additional point, which is still connected with good brain functioning, guess what? Is having a laugh. Now I'm going to unmute all, and I would like to hear from any one of you, when was the last time you had a good laugh from your heart? When
This
was
morning. Yesterday.
Angelique? Yes?
Yesterday, yeah.
What happened?
I was actually facilitating a parent club, and I was giving them a scenario of what happened to me in terms of I was basically, you know, it made me feel a bit crazy, it made me feel a bit stupid, but it was something to laugh about afterwards, because in the moment I was like really embarrassed, but afterwards I was laughing, and you know, it was good. It was good to know that, you know, it wasn't on my brain, you know, making me feel stressed or anything. I was able to laugh about it.
Wonderful. And you know what Angelique has just said? One of the most important tips about laughing, you know, laugh at yourself and laugh at different situations. Yeah, obviously, as long as you don't think create any embarrassment in anyone. I'd like to know what you do, all of you or some of you, to laugh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
Oh, who's talking? Somebody. Yeah, hi Anna. My mother is 84 and I phone her every night. She lives 100 miles away, and I get a laugh every single time I phone her. So every day she makes me laugh. She's a real comedian. She makes me laugh because I do a check-in call. Have you got your alarm around your neck? Have you got those? She starts laughing. She thinks I'm so funny. Yeah, so every night that I get a laugh every single day with her. She's just so funny.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And then it's the two of you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because laughing is actually quite involving.
Yes, yes.
Okay, shall I show you what I do? While you're thinking about what you do. Hold on a minute.
Oh dear.
Going to do her yoga.
Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah. Shaun
the sheep.
sheep.
Oh gosh.
So what I do, basically, this is just an example, and feel free to laugh at me. I don't mind, because actually it's quite good.
Laughing with you.
I'm very much into cartoons. So when I get a little bit sad because the things that happen, as you can imagine, what's happening in Italy with my family, they're all there struggling. Yeah. When things start getting to me, I just put on my beloved cartoons. Immediately, the muscle tension goes, the face relaxes, the heartbeat goes down, because obviously it's a sense of enjoyment. I feel pleasure everywhere, body and mind, everywhere. Yeah, good for your muscles as well. And let me tell you, going back to physical activity, a good laugh is good for your belly.
Definitely.
Yeah? Because when you laugh, you actually exercise your abdomen. So there you are. The advantage of having a laugh. So I would encourage you to look for anything that makes you laugh. Could it be comedy? Could it be what? Diane Dance talking to her mom? Could it be talking to children? Could it be one day playing with them when we're all allowed and come out of lockdown? Yeah. Could it be doing a Zumba class where the instructor is particularly
Yeah, I've got mine. But sent to us, so I got to do it every morning.
Very good. That's it.
We had a Zoom party on Saturday. Sorry,
Even
Anna.
when staying at home, put on a sort of jolly music, you know, and just have a little dance. Anything to relax your body, which relax the mind, anything to lift up your spirit.
We had a night on Saturday night Zoom. It was 135 people.
And what did you do, Elsie?
Well, I got to do the last reading. They do singing and things like that, and then they had 2 DJs.
Wonderful.
In their different houses, you know, so everybody, it was really interesting, and they tell the stories, and so we had a laugh because of the person who passed away. They talk about the history, and she was funny.
Yeah. And how did you feel about it?
Good. Well, you felt sad, some part of it.
Yeah.
It was sad when they're talking and bringing back memories, because it was very close friend to me with my daughter-in-law's mother. Yeah.
Yes. But at the same time, you've mentioned something that basically comes next, and it's socializing. There's a lot of people, I'm sure you've heard, you know, Diane and all of you've heard how difficult it is for all of us to stay at home, because what is really missing is contact with people like we did before. Okay, we may call people, we may look at someone from a distance outside the door maybe, but the level of engagement that we used to have before the lockdown is currently not there. Unless you're one of those who break the rules and you have parties at home.
No, we have it in their own home.
Exactly.
We are all with there, everybody's there, but not in that physical.
Yes. However, the fact that we can't really, and certainly as an Italian, I can't hug people. The ones who come on the bus with me, usually we hug each other sometimes, we can't actually have the physical presence, So what does that do to our morale? What does that do to our brain? Because obviously the stimulation that is there in terms of having the face-to-face and the real engagement, physical engagement, is actually not there.
I've made a contact.
So the next tip, when we can do, I always say, and Andrew also says, we must have a party. So if Andrew is there,
Andrew will buy the drink. Andrew will buy the drink.
So he may be telling me off now, asking who's going to pay for this, okay? But hopefully he won't tell me off, because I do intend to have a huge party with all the people that I know, and that includes you. So socializing, in itself stimulates the brain. That's why it is good, because it's to do with conversation, it's to do with talking, it's to do with thinking, it's to do with creating conversations. So again, socializing, one more tip. Now, there's many more, but let me come to the one that is equally important. Food. Okay, why is the food good for the brain? What's the connection between food and brain? Anyone?
Well, they always talk about sort of brain food, don't they?
Rosa, yes, such
I don't
as?
know exactly what types there are, but you always hear different types being spoken of as brain food.
And can you make an example of a brain food?
Fish oils.
Yes, we've heard about fish oils, yes, which are?
The omega one.
Omega-3 fatty acids.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, so omega-3 fatty acids, yes, that's right. There has been research has almost confirmed, almost established a link between omega-3 fatty acids and the brain function. So again, your salmon, your mackerel, your tuna, although to a less extent, less than mackerel and salmon. Good for your heart, because they also seem to sort of have a connection with cholesterol. Good for your heart, good for your brain. What about fruit and veg?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, do we know why?
Because of the fiber and things like that.
Di,
And
what
it
do you
helps.
say? Yes? Anyone else?
For your mood, your mood.
Your mood?
Sorry.
Okay, well, yeah, that's an
Things like
emotion.
bananas. What about bananas? Bananas have serotonin in them, don't they? A certain level, is that right?
Potassium, banana.
Potassium, and it's good for the stimulation of
Potassium.
serotonin in the brain.
Yeah.
But not everybody can have. I mean, I am allowed 2 per week, but I have more than 2. The potassium.
Yeah.
Potassium. That's right. That's right. So, can I just take a step back? Not everybody likes fish to get your omega-3 fatty acid. Vegetarian people could eat nuts. Nuts are high in omega-3, especially walnuts.
I don't like them.
Yeah, so there is an alternative also for vegetarian people. But fruit and veg, especially green leaves like spinach,
Kale.
yeah, kale, that's right. The kale is very high in vitamin C, which is actually good for your immune system. However, foods that are green, but fruit and veg in general, yeah, contain what we call antioxidants. So antioxidants, yeah, are those enzymes, are those elements that can actually combat what we call free radicals. So free radicals are basically responsible for killing our cells in a way. You know, our cells get old. So eating a lot of antioxidants actually reduces the damage of the free radicals in the body, including the brain. So that's the explanation why it's very important. So not only fruit and veg are good for your body because they help with digestion, and obviously, you know, the more you eat, it can also help with weight loss and so on and so forth. But there are these specific reasons whereby they are also good for your brain. So again, what is good for your heart is good for the brain. So I would recommend that you increase the intake of fruit and veg. And what is really important is what I call the rainbow diet. Yeah, the rainbow diet has been out for some time. It's not a diet. It's just that you need to think about the colors of the rainbows when you eat your food. So think of your red tomato, think of your green peppers or spinach, think of your orange carrots, yeah, think of all, you know, oranges as such. So make your fruit and veg intake as varied as possible to get all the nutrients, minerals and vitamins and antioxidants that you need for both the body as such and the brain. Okay, so because we only have 10 minutes, I would like us to do 2 things. One is to have a discussion on what you think has been useful today. And secondly, I'd like you to take a couple of minutes to write what kindness means to you, like we said at the beginning. So let's discuss. You can either write in the chat or you can actually raise your hand and you can talk. Who want to say anything about anything that we've discussed today? Hello? Anyone?
Just thinking about how to. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Diane first.
Yeah, just how to the tips you've given about how to combat stress or to deal with stress. Really useful. You know, things like, you know, obviously taking breaks, the laughter, socialization. Just that list of things is really useful. But I really like the rainbow diet. I think that's really helpful. When you go shopping, you can look for the colors of the rainbow and just try and purchase those things that you like within that. So I think that's been great. Yeah.
Right. It's just a
Never heard that before.
I agree. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. That's
Never heard the name before.
Pardon?
Yeah,
I never heard the name before.
Yeah, eat like a rainbow. Yes.
Yeah.
Like a rainbow, yeah.
I know it used those, but never heard that name up before. Anna.
Okay. Well, it's not my invention, yeah. Don't talk about a rainbow, just because you think of the colors of the rainbow, you know, meaning try and make your fruit and vegetable intake as varied as possible. Yeah, to take all the minerals and vitamins that we actually need to keep strong. Yeah. Anyone else who wants to say something? You're all strapped. Oh my God.
It's been lovely. It's been really, sorry, I'll go.
Angelique, hello.
It's been really great. You know that saying about you kind of know what to do and you hear, what you're supposed to do, but it's almost like you're just confirming, for me, confirming that what I'm doing is the right thing and stuff. It's just about really noticing, things are getting a bit on top. Think, stop, what am I doing, what am I not doing, that need, to kind of put myself back on that balance, because busy lives can really take over.
Absolutely, yes, that's right. So I didn't expect everybody not to know anything of the things I've said, but just reinforces certain things that sometimes we hear but we don't actually much focus on it.
True.
So
Correct.
having a
Yeah.
discussion, all of us, and just reflecting on these things, hopefully they reinforce the good things that you are already doing, and perhaps starting a couple of other things that you're not yet doing.
Definitely.
And one comment about physical activity, I did talk about aerobics, aerobics exercise, but depending on how we feel. So it's been proved that if you feel particularly anxious, in order to release the stress hormones, your stress hormones, doing something that is fast is helpful. But equally important is to think about the more meditative side of physical activity. So for example, yoga has been proved to have so many benefits for the mind and the body. It's been proved that it reduces your blood pressure. It's been proved that, again, in terms of the mind relaxation, you get wonderful effects. You sleep better as well. You basically, what people say usually is you calm down. So it's not that we just have to stick to aerobics. The recommendation for physical activity is to go for a variety of different disciplines. So your aerobics for your cardiovascular and your stress release, your weights, or resistance training, as it's called, to keep strong, your meditative side to, again, quieten the mind and relaxing the body. So not everybody likes everything. Just think, as I said at the beginning, something that you enjoy doing. If you enjoy doing, you're more likely to stick to it, which is the real benefit. Consistency and continuous practice is what really the brain also needs.
And you asking for feedback, really, and I feel that this morning enables me to think again, because when you lock down, I mean, you pick things, you understand? And you felt like, why am I doing this? And meeting other people. Sharon, I haven't seen you for a long while. You understand? It's meeting other people like this is very, very important. We are not physically there. And I thank God that you all think about things like this for us. And especially now is the mentality of us. No one knows what everyone is going through. But it raises a lot of awareness for us now that we think about our breathing and things like that when we finished. Thank you.
That's right.
Oh.
So, thank you very much, Elsie, for raising that. Talking of which, I just want to share with you something that I hope you will spread as widely as possible. I have been thinking about the social isolation that I also feel, because I'm used to work in the community and I teach in gyms in the evening. So, you know, I'm constantly surrounded by people. Suddenly the lockdown comes and lots of people that I'm used to, you know, even to say hello in person and talk in person and all that, they are no longer there. And therefore, starting from my own personal experience, yeah, I have been thinking, what is the best way of engaging with people while we are in lockdown? And therefore, also in discussion with Andrew, I have now started a regular meeting on Wednesdays, and some of you have taken part of it, every Wednesday from 3 till 4 on Zoom, and it's called Get Together for the Over 60s. Now, I don't really want to close the door to those who are not, who are
I'm nearly there.
Younger than 60. Okay?
Not far off.
9.5.
You can come in there.
And come along, because I'll obviously send you the link or email me. I've put my email at the top of the chat, and I will answer the question about teaching Pilates at Solution Gym in a minute. So this get together for the over 60s is an important way of connecting, reducing social isolation, and discussing topics of people's interest. So even if you're not 60 and you want to
tell them come along.
Please
Intergeneration.
Join us. Do email me and I will send you the link. So tomorrow we actually have a particular topic for discussion with Carol from St. Christopher's office, because sometimes people have raised the issue, how do we plan for care in advance? And what are the issues around the power of attorney? So I've invited her to come along tomorrow between 3 and 4. This is what we're going to ask. It's an issue that is not just for older people, it's for families.
It's for everybody.
It's for everyone. So please do email me. I will recirculate the flyer for tomorrow's session again. Feel free to join. Feel free to just spread the word, as I said, because I'm very keen on having a kind of a little club, yeah, while we are waiting to go back to what we call the new normal. Yeah. So that's I would like to encourage you all and invite you all to come along. Every week we are planning to have a topic, but in some cases, if there is no topic, it's what Elsie said. We just have a chat and we see, you know, just for company to reduce our isolation. Yeah. So, what is kindness to you? Anyone who wants to share that?
Love. Support,
what have you written down? Have you written down about anything about what kindness means to you?
Kindness definitely means that everybody.
Angelique? Okay.
Yes, that's me.
Yes?
Sorry. Everyone to be nice to each other and to look after each other.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else?
To me, Anna.
Lisa, yes, you're next.
To me, I would think we need to be respectful of others, need to be more tolerant of others, show kindness in whatever way we are able to, in the sense that we be helpful to them, maybe go out for a walk with them when this pandemic is over, keep them company in their little world. They would appreciate all that. And to me, that would mean kindness.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. That's really very deep.
Yeah.
Anyone else who wants to share?
I had thing like care and support, and you share what you know to each other. Example, like today, I share it to everybody. It's only some people don't know how to use the Zoom. So I think love is very important, as you talk about, Lisa. I think those are the key words, really.
Wonderful, thank you. Anyone else? Just a couple more if you have them.
That's what I'm doing here. I'm helping out with some of the elderly ladies. I do a bit of shopping for them. I call them and see if they're okay. And they said to me, "Oh, Kuna, you are so kind." So every day I call them and see if they're okay. And if they need a bit of shopping, I go and
That's great. Thank you. One last one. One last one. Anyone?
Yes, sometime, Anna.
Okay. Yes.
You got to think about the other person, forget about your need, and think about the person needs sometimes.
Yes, all times.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's again very deep. So
I've got one more.
yeah. So
We need to be we need to be kind to ourselves.
Yes.
We have to be love ourselves. Love yourself. Love yourself.
Yes. So I would like to end this session first of all by thanking you for your gesture of kindness to join me today, but also with, you know, a kind of suggestion: be kind to your brain.
Yeah.
So really
Thank you.
try and practice a little tip. And yes, I really hope they all work for you. Certainly they work for me. So I just want to thank you. Hi, Andrew. Did you want to say anything?
You know me, always. Listen,
yes.
Listen, hello everyone. Hope everyone's nice and well.
Thank you.
Listen, tomorrow, just going on from this one, tomorrow we've got Georgina doing a mindfulness session at 7 p.m. So I think that will flow very nicely with today's session, Hannah. So, so it's the same link as what you guys used today, but it starts at 7 p.m. tomorrow, and it's Georgina, and she's very, very good. Please, if you do want the list of activities, then please put your email in the chat, and I will email it out to you guys straight away.
That's wonderful.
Right. So Anna, you're going to need to copy all of those, yeah?
Yes, that's fine. So I will, but I think most of you are part of my contact anyway.
Yeah.
But it's fine, you know. Just I've put again my email in the chat as well. Feel free to email me anytime. And in the meantime, you know, I just want to say thank you for joining me today, and arrivederci. So I will see you in person.
Thank you.
When we go back.
Well, I said thanks to you and Andrew to keep us brain going.
Yeah.
Angela,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Talking
Thank you.
of which,
Thank you
I
both.
hope I can see you again on Thursday.
Bye, Elsie.
Bye, Sharon.
Bye, Lisa.
Be safe, everyone. Take care.
So I will
bye.
Hey, Angelique.
See you, Andrew.
Okay.
Bye.
So,
Anna.
all the very best to you all.
Bye-bye, darling.
Bye.
All right, Anna, if you stop recording now.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, stop recording and then stay on the line.
Yes.
Yeah.